Tip: it's a bit of a bulldozer, if you don't like it, you can ignore it. Thank you. Xiao Fan, what are you doing? It's work time, and you're actually playing games. Are you worthy of your salary? In the office area, the supervisor scolded Xiao Fan, who was drawing cards with an ugly face. It's fine now, so I just took out my phone to check the time. It's no big deal, why are you so loud? Xiao Fan's expression remained the same, and he continued to come for 10 consecutive sessions. Today, he must choose a new role, otherwise he will feel uncomfortable. The supervisor was extremely angry at the moment. Facing the unscrupulous Xiao Fan, he really wanted to swear, but he finally held back. People are not POST70s, nor POST80s, or even POST90s, but POST95s. It's useless to scold them. Today you work overtime. In just 1 hour, you can get off work after you get the report done. The supervisor said helplessly. My name is Kikai, I am a zombie. I'll wipe. My little guarantee: it is a good thing to withdraw gold, but it is not a good thing to withdraw Kikai. Xiao Fan almost vomited when he saw Kikai. Did you listen to what I'm saying? The corner of the supervisor's mouth twitched. The POST95s generation is really lawless now. Director, it's 5 o'clock now. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I have to get off work. Xiao Fan glanced at him, then took care of himself to pack his things and prepare to get off work. I have a document here that I need urgently. You can work overtime in an hour. The supervisor almost didn't take a breath. He was the supervisor, but this guy didn't take him seriously at all. I have something to do after get off work, so I can't work overtime. The supervisor is very sorry, but I will definitely help you tomorrow. It is impossible to work overtime. As a POST1995 POST95, Xiao Fan doesn't care so much. It's a big deal. An hour of overtime pay is 30 yuan. The supervisor had already prepared. Overtime pay did not exist originally, but the POST95s generation is different from the POST000 POST00s, and it is not paid to others. The movements in Xiao Fan's hands paused for a while, and his brain made a quick calculation, then shook his head and said, Director, I'm already very tired for 8 hours a day. I have to go back earlier, I'm sorry. Xiao Fan, you're not motivated at all, don't you think about your future? The supervisor is really speechless. What kind of person is he who pays overtime and doesn't work overtime? Director, I don't buy a house, I don't buy a car, I don't get married, so don't talk to me about the future, I just want to live a good life now. After packing up, Xiao Fan left without hesitation. The supervisor's face was very ugly. This Xiao Fan didn't give him face at all, but as Xiao Fan said, people don't have high desires, so they really don't need to give him face. Filled with anger, he came to a POST80s employee and threw the document on the table with a snap. Working overtime tonight, this document must be done. Director, I have something to do at night, too. If you don't work overtime, your salary will be deducted, and you will be deducted 10% from the commission. Do you want to increase it? I'll fix it, but overtime pay. The POST80s generation had no choice but to agree. He couldn't be as handsome as Xiao Fan. What is the overtime pay? There is no overtime pay. Hurry up and fix it for me. The supervisor glared at him and left quickly. On the other side, Xiao Fan was already riding his little electric donkey on his way back home. On the way, he looked at the cars that were stuck on the road, and he couldn't help humming a song. In a big city, there are a lot of buses to work and get off, and it is very normal to get stuck in traffic. In this case, a small electric donkey is far more convenient than a car. Let it go, let it go. Just when Xiao Fan was riding around a corner, he suddenly heard a shout. He looked subconsciously and found that it was a girl riding a bike, rushing straight towards him. Boom! There is no doubt that the driving is not standardized, the wallet is full of tears, and the flesh and blood are also bitter. The two little electric donkeys collided with each other like this. Fortunately, Xiao Fan reacted quickly and supported the car in time to prevent his car from falling down. But the girl was a little bit miserable, she just rolled over and fell to the ground. Are you okay? Although it was the other party's fault, Xiao Fan parked the car and hurriedly helped the other party up. I'm sorry, I was distracted just now. The girl's face turned embarrassed, and her face turned red. It's all right, I'm fine. Xiao Fan rubbed his calf, just touched it, now it hurts a little. The girl observed very carefully, saw Xiao Fan rubbing his legs, and said quickly, why don't you go to the hospital to have a look? No need, I'll go first. It wasn't a big deal, so Xiao Fan was about to leave, he was not a serious person. That won't work, let's add a contact information. If there is a problem, you can tell me. The girl said quickly. That's fine. Xiao Fan glanced at the girl's face, she was pretty, and she could add a contact number and put it in the warehouse. Soon the two of them added their contact information, and then Xiao Fan left directly. With a monthly income of more than 3,000 yuan, he would never hit a girl's attention. Don't I look good today? Yu Shuwen felt a little depressed, she took out a small mirror and looked at it, and found that it was very beautiful. As a beauty, she has been pursued by boys since childhood. Many boys try their best to create opportunities to pursue her. But the boy's attitude towards her just now made her feel a little frustrated, and the other party didn't seem to want to know her at all. Otherwise, she must add a contact information. Maybe they will just leave. Of course, if the other party is an ordinary-looking boy, she will not care. But the other party is very handsome and looks very gentle. Such a boy ignores him and can't wait to get away from him, which makes Yu Shuwen feel unconvinced. Actually, Xiao Fan was very moved, but he knew that he couldn't afford such a beautiful girl. Since he couldn't afford it, it was better not to make up his mind. He rode his bike directly back to where he lived. Xiao Fan lived in an old-fashioned community. The rent here was relatively cheap, and he could have a small space of his own for 800 yuan. After returning home, he first took out Yunnan Biao and sprayed the wound, then ordered a takeout, then turned on the computer and prepared to play games for a while. But just as he sat down, a flower suddenly appeared in front of him, and then a virtual screen appeared in front of him. The Shenhao system is successfully bound. Congratulations on getting the assistance of the Shenhao system as a god, your existence is value, so every second can be rewarded system level. Level 1 every second you get dividends and the return is 1 penny experience required to upgrade, 0/10,000 note, you can gain experience every time you spend money, and the conversion ratio is $1 to 1 point. How big is the system? Xiao Fan held his breath for a moment, his heart beating very fast. As a salted fish, he originally thought that this would be the case in this life, but he did not expect to get the system at this time. This is the system in the novel. With the system, can he reach the pinnacle of life and become a big salted fish? The excitement in his heart made Xiao Fan's body heat up quickly, and he couldn't calm down at all. In the end, he could only quickly enter the bathroom and turn on the shower to force himself to calm down with cold water. Under the heat of cold water, the CPU finally calmed down slowly, and Xiao Fan, who had regained his ability to think, immediately began to calculate. 1 penny a second, 6 cents a minute, 36 yuan an hour. The hourly salary of 36 is indeed not high, but he has so much for 24 hours, which means that he earns 864 yuan a day. With such a high income, you can lie flat without having to go to work. More importantly, the system is only at the first level. After the system level is raised, will the income per second increase again? After the calculation, Xiao Fan became excited again. Fortunately, the shower continued to cool the CPU, otherwise he couldn't calm down again. 864 a day is about 26,000 a month. Although it is difficult to buy a house with this money, it is still very simple to live a dashing life. And after the level of the system is increased, maybe the income can be increased, and it will be much easier to buy a house at that time. Thinking of this, Xiao Fan immediately knew what he should do now. Currently, the system upgrade only needs to spend 10,000 yuan, which is not a lot of money. With his deposit, he can definitely complete the upgrade. As long as he completes one upgrade, he can know whether the income will increase after the upgrade. Without any hesitation, he immediately returned to the room. Before he could wipe off the water stains on his body, he found his mobile phone immediately. Opening this Bayo app, he immediately saw his balance, which was a little over 10,000 in total. He barely left the money. His salary is about 3,700 yuan a month. Except for meals and rent, the rest of the money is used to buy things and recharge. The more than 10,000 yuan was originally used for emergencies. But it doesn't seem to be needed now. It is obviously more important to upgrade the system level at present, so Xiao Fan is going to go out and spend money. Of course, he must take a shower before going out. After taking a shower, he picked up his mobile phone and went straight out. 10,000 yuan was actually very little, so he couldn't help spending it. He planned to buy a new mobile phone, then a set of clothes and shoes. It cost 50 to rent a car to a shopping mall. This shopping mall is very big. There are ordinary goods and luxury goods. There are also mobile phones and digital products. After entering the mall, Xiao Fan purposefully went straight to the clothing area on the third floor. Men don't buy things like women. Just go and buy whatever they want. There's no need to waste time shopping around. When he came to the men's clothing store, he directly told the clerk his requirements, and the clerk quickly brought him to the right men's clothing, simply selected them, and spent 3,500 to buy a set of casual men's clothing. After buying men's clothing, he spent more than 2,000 yuan on a pair of shoes. In less than 15 minutes, he had already spent nearly 6,000 yuan, and he only needed to spend more than 4,000 yuan to upgrade the system. Without hesitation, he went directly to the Huawei store to buy a Huawei mobile phone. It happened that Huawei launched the new 40, so he did not hesitate to buy one at a cost of 6,300. In fact, he wanted to change his mobile phone for a long time, and the serial in his hand was terminally ill. Except for making calls, the card could not be used at all. In China, there are only Huawei and Apple for high-end mobile phones. Both brands are very good, especially Apple's chips, which are really good. Apple is very good, so he chose Huawei. Although he is just a salted fish, it does not prevent him from supporting domestic technology. After buying the mobile phone, he spent a total of 12,000 yuan, which has reached the system upgrade requirement, so he turned on the system. System level 2 every second to get dividends, the return is 1 dime experience required to upgrade, 2000/100000. Note, you can gain experience every time you spend money, and the conversion ratio is $1 to 1 point. After the system was upgraded, the income actually increased tenfold. That is to say, now that he does nothing every day, he can earn more than 8,000 yuan, more than 200,000 yuan a month and more than 2 million yuan a year. Cool, very cool. Xiao Fan was extremely excited. In less than 2 hours, he changed from a small salted fish to a super big salted fish. The salted fish with an annual salary of 1 million and the one with an annual salary of tens of thousands are not of the same class, and the pots lying on them are different. With such a high return at only 2 levels, Xiao Fan can't wait to continue to upgrade. However, the next level will cost 100,000 yuan. Based on the calculation of more than 8,000 yuan per day, it will take about 12 days. 12 days are not long. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com, but Xiao Fan can't wait a little bit. In fact, he has channels to get money, but the system has river crab rules, so crooked ways don't count. D. a system upgrade has been detected, and now we will give you a chance to draw a lottery. Do you want to draw a lottery? Lottery draw. Xiao Fan was stunned for a moment, then quickly asked, what prizes are there? The system did not reply, but a large turntable appeared, with various prizes on the turntable. Xiao Fan looked carefully and found that there were cars, houses, planes, cash, coupons, cruise ships, all kinds of things. The small turntable is densely packed with various prizes. If you want to draw good things among so many prizes, it all depends on your luck. Fortunately, there is no thank you for your patronage. After confirming that he didn't thank him for his patronage, Xiao Fan didn't hesitate to start the lottery. The big turntable was spinning at an extremely fast speed. After spinning, he couldn't see the picture at all. A few seconds later, the turntable that was spinning at high speed stopped instantly, and Xiao Fan could see clearly what he had drawn. It wasn't a house, it wasn't a car, and it wasn't a cruise ship. Donate you to get a shark fin card. This card can be recharged for consumption. The denomination is 1 million. Thank you for your patronage. Xiao Fan knows very well what shark fins are. When he is free, he will watch live broadcasts, and shark fins are the currency of a big live broadcast platform. 1 million shark fins are equivalent to recharging 1 million soft girls, which is a lot of money. Unfortunately, shark fins can only be consumed online. Compared to the other rewards on the turntable, the shark fin is really not worth mentioning, but his luck in the lottery has always been average, so he gladly accepts it. He is very satisfied with the money given by the system every day. This million is just icing on the cake. Yu Shuwen limped back to the dormitory with a look of pain on her face. She didn't expect that her leg suddenly hurt during the journey, which made her very helpless. Xiaoan, why are you here? I don't think you are looking very well. What happened? The sisters in the dormitory immediately noticed something was wrong, and hurriedly stepped forward and asked. It's all right, I accidentally fell when I came back from the bike, just spray some Yunnan Biao. Yu Shuwen shook her head, still quite strong. I have Yunnan Biao here. Hurry up and spray it. Do you want to go to the hospital? The other roommates quickly took out Yunnan Biao and sprayed it for Yu Shuwen. You don't need to go to the hospital. Yu Shuwen shook her head and rejected the proposal. She had encountered this kind of thing before, and it would be fine in 2 days. Okay, then pay attention to yourself. The roommate didn't persuade, but changed one thing. By the way, your boyfriend came to look for you just now. It seems that there is something wrong. Do you want to call him back? Why is he looking for me? Yu Shuwen frowned slightly, and was very dissatisfied with her boyfriend's behavior of coming to the dormitory to find her without authorization. I don't know, you can ask yourself. The roommate shook his head, picked up his phone and watched a soap opera. Yu Shuwen took off her shoes and socks, took out her mobile phone and hesitated for a while, then called her boyfriend. Wen, you finally called me back. I called you just now, why didn't you answer? The phone was quickly connected, and her boyfriend's voice came from the microphone. The roommates who were playing with their mobile phones all pricked up their ears at this moment. I have something to do just now, why are you looking for me? Yu Shuwen then remembered that her boyfriend did call her, but at that time, she crashed into a car with a handsome stranger, so she subconsciously hung up. Hey, are you free this weekend? Shall we go out to play together? I don't have time. I have to work on weekends. You don't even know how to play. You're already a junior. It's not hard for me to want to play. We haven't gone out to play for several months. Before waiting for her boyfriend to finish speaking, Yu Shuwen hung up the phone directly. She was not interested in going out to play. Now her work is important. After hanging up the phone, Yu Shuwen opened WeChat, and she remembered the handsome guy she bumped into. I am in pain, but the other party is definitely not feeling well. When she found the other person's avatar, she secretly clicked on the moments, but there was nothing. She had no choice but to send a message. Hello, my name is Yu Shawen. I'm very sorry just now, are you all right? After sending the message, she waited for a while and found that no one replied, which made her helpless, so she could only put down her phone to wash her face. On the other hand, Xiao Fan just went home after spending his money. After he changed his phone, he realized that someone had sent him a message. As a salted fish, no one sent him a message on his WeChat originally, but it is rare that someone would take the initiative to send him a message today. He opened WeChat and found that it was the girl who added WeChat in the afternoon. He instantly remembered the girl's appearance. Before he got the system, he didn't care about that girl at all, because he could barely support himself because of the money he earned, so women were fine. But now it's different. With a bulging wallet, he is more thoughtful, and he wants to eat and satisfy his desires. That's the virtue of a man. Thinking of this, Xiao Fan replied with a message, "My leg is about to break, you were so cruel. After returning home, I found that I couldn't move. Poor I'm really sorry, I didn't mean it, why don't you go to the hospital and I'll reimburse you for the medical expenses." When Yu Shawen saw the news, she immediately panicked. "That's not necessary. I have already sprayed Yunnan Biao. By the way, you should have encountered it too. If it hurts, spray a little Yunnan Biao. Also, don't use the white bottle and the red bottle wrong." Xiao Fan doesn't really know how to chat with girls, so he can only chat based on his feelings. "I've also sprayed Yunnan Biao, are you sure you're all right? Why don't you go to the hospital?" Yu Shawen felt that the handsome guy opposite was very gentle, and she was in pain to death, yet she still cared about her. "It's really fine, it'll be fine in a few days. Well, by the way, what's your name?" Soon Xiao Fan and Yu Shawen chatted, maybe because they were handsome guys and beautiful women, maybe because of the crash, so the two had a very pleasant chat. Just when Xiao Fan was about to learn more about it, the system prompt sounded suddenly, forcing him to stop chatting. Although beauty is good, it is still a lot worse than making money. Taking the initiative to end the chat with the other party, Xiao Fan opened the system to take a look, and found that the system issued a task. In the task area of the system, there are currently 2 tasks. Task 1, as a god, how can you be unknown? Please ask a host to call you dad 3 times, and you will be rewarded with a lottery draw. Task 2, as a hero, you must be generous, invite your friend to a meal worth not less than 10,000 yuan, and reward a lottery draw. Isn't this asking him to pretend? Everyone likes to pretend. Xiao Fan is not disgusted by this, he also likes to pretend if he can. It's just that I didn't have the strength before. Sometimes, when I met my big brother while watching the live broadcast, I could only say sourly that people are stupid and have more money. But he is very clear that if people can give so much money, they must be more extravagant in life. To put it in a bad way, people can make so much money, which is much better than people who can only be sour. He now has 1,000,000 shark fin cards. It shouldn't be difficult to complete the first task. As for the second one, wait, he definitely doesn't have that much money today. Just finished spending, and he has less than 1,000 yuan in his body. Today's system will not settle the settlement until 12 o'clock, so the second task can only be put on hold. After checking in the Dayo Live app, Xiao Fan began to look for an anchor who could help him complete his tasks. There are really many anchors these days, and they belong to a very competitive industry. At that time, many professional women changed their careers after seeing the rise of the anchor industry, which made the involution very serious. Many anchors tried their best to keep their big brothers. It is for this reason that there are a lot of young people watching the live broadcast, and Xiao Fan is no exception. When he was bored, he would watch the live broadcast to pass the time. In his watch list, there are more than 30 beautiful streamers, all of which he carefully selected and followed, so after opening the app, he first looked at it in his watch list. If you want the anchor to assist him in completing the task, then you must choose the right anchor. For such a high-level anchor, it is too difficult for them to call him dad in the live broadcast room. Xiao Fan's millions of shark fins are not enough. Those women have a lot of appetite, so they absolutely cannot choose their target. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. In comparison, those anchors who are not high-ranked and whose popularity is not tepid are easier to cooperate with. Xiao Fan's goal is this. Especially the kind of anchors whose monthly consumption does not exceed 10,000 or 20,000 yuan. The monthly turnover of this kind of anchor is barely around 30,000 to 40,000 yuan. After deducting the platform share and the guild share, the income of several thousand yuan a month may not be as high as normal work in many cases. This type of anchor, because he has tasted the sweetness, is very attentive to the live broadcast. The most important thing is that this type of anchor looks very good, and there may be many suitors in reality. It's just that they all have the dream of earning millions a month, so they are deeply rooted in the bottomless quagmire of the live broadcast industry. The dream is beautiful, but the reality is really cruel. The population base of our country is too large, resulting in too many practitioners in this industry. Beauty is just the most basic thing. Being beautiful does not necessarily make it popular. It also requires luck and strength. To stand out among millions of anchors, you need more strength and luck than a little bit of luck. The base of the pyramid is the largest, and the apex is the smallest. The same is true in the live broadcast industry. After all, the part that can be on the apex is only a small part. Most of the anchors can only be in the middle, or in a tepid situation. A long period of lukewarmness will make the anchors very contradictory in their hearts. They will be anxious, worried about their own future, and very confused about their own future. The most important thing is that they are reluctant to give up this industry. Under various factors, they will try their best to seize the opportunity when they see it. It's very difficult for people to call them daddy, but it's still very easy to ask them to call them daddy, as long as they have enough shark fins, and sometimes it's not difficult to have friendly and in-depth exchanges. Lin Xiu is a full-time anchor. After graduating from college, she couldn't find a satisfactory job, so she has been looking for a job. But she had no income all the time, and she couldn't bear it. Later, by chance, she heard the sisters talk about being an anchor and making money. So out of curiosity, she researched this industry and found that it is indeed possible to make money, and it is not tiring. She just needs to sit in front of the camera every day and sing and chat. There are many people in this industry who are not very good looking. Those who have undergone cosmetic surgery can make money. She believes that she can definitely make money. A beautiful woman who wears natural clothes can definitely defeat those who have undergone plastic surgery. She feels that she has a great advantage, and she will win this wave. Even if she can't make big money, she should be able to make small money. With the dream of earning tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands a month, Lin Xiu joined the live broadcast industry. During the 1-month live broadcast, she met a lot of friends, and many viewers praised her as beautiful, even more beautiful than celebrities, etc., saying that she would definitely become popular. She didn't believe these compliments at first, but gradually she believed it, because the first month's income actually exceeded 10,000 yuan. You must know that it is not easy to earn more than 10,000 yuan a month. Many of her classmates still have a salary of several thousand yuan, and they are tired every day. Compared with her, there is a big gap. Income gave her self-confidence. In order to earn more money, she extended the time of live broadcast, and took the initiative to study music and dance. She wanted a higher income. Thanks to her hard work, her income became higher and higher in the next 2 months. In the 4th month, her income reached more than 50,000 yuan, which really made her ecstatic. She can earn 50,000 a month just by chatting and dancing on the camera every day. This is too exaggerated. In order to reward herself, she bought herself good bags and cosmetics. Just when she thought she would improve step by step, the situation changed in the 5th month. Her turnover began to decrease, and there were many fewer people who tipped her in her live broadcast room. In the 5th month, her income was directly halved, only a little over 20,000, which made her a little flustered, but she still comforted herself that it was an accident. But in the 6th month, she couldn't hold back completely. Compared with the 5th month, the turnover in the 6th month dropped more seriously. When she was paid, she realized that her income in the 6th month had not exceeded 10,000 yuan. Such a gap made her completely panicked. She quickly learned about the situation and found out that the eldest brother who originally gave her gifts went to other people's live broadcast rooms to buy gifts. This discovery made her silent. After the live broadcast for 5 months, she also understood some truths and rules. For the past 2 months, there has been a big brother who asked her to go out to dinner. She knows very well what it means to eat, so every time she finds a reason to refuse. She originally thought she was very smart, but now it seems that the big brothers are not stupid. After seeing that she didn't scatter eagles, the eldest brothers were impatient, and each one of them didn't give her gifts, and instead went to find other anchors. After understanding this situation, Lin Xiu was really aggrieved. She regarded her eldest brother as her family, but they had other purposes. Since the eldest brother is so ruthless, she ignores those eldest brothers and continues the daily live broadcast. She believes that there will always be a real eldest brother, a eldest brother who is not for that kind of thing. With this belief, she continued to live broadcast for 2 months, and then she was taught a lot by reality. The reality is very cruel, and she will not show mercy because she is a beautiful woman. In the past 2 months, her income has continued to decline, and in the end, it could only be maintained at around 6,000 a month. The reason why she did not decline is that she is really beautiful, so there are still people who give rewards. There are a lot of people who give a few yuan or a dozen in her live broadcast room every day, but there must be no big brother. This month, her monthly ranking is only less than 3,000 yuan. Compared with the previous months, it is really outrageous. 6,000 a month is actually not very low. The most important thing is that the work is easy, but Lin Xiu has earned a monthly income of 50,000, how could she be willing? On this day, she had already started broadcasting for more than 3 hours, but the gift she received was only a little over 4,000 yuan. If the 4,000 yuan is all rewarded by the audience, that's okay, but she must have 2,000 of the 4,000 rewarded by herself. For the popularity of the live broadcast room, she rewarded herself with a super hot of 2,000. Gifts need to be divided. There are 5 levels in the platform and 2 levels in the guild. She only has 3 levels. That is to say, her income today is 1,002. After deducting 2,000 yuan from 1,200 yuan, not only did she not make any money today, but she also lost 800 yuan. Lin Xiu's mood was extremely bad. I'm really a fool. Lin Xiu scolded herself for being stupid in her heart. She had nothing to learn from a big anchor to boost her popularity. After scolding herself, Lin Xiu fell into confusion. She couldn't see her future. She felt that if this continued, she would be finished sooner or later. She wondered if she was wearing too much. If she wore cooler clothes, the situation in the live broadcast room would definitely be much better. As a girl with a firm heart, at this moment, she also began to waver. She was thinking about whether she should step back a little bit, dress cooler during the live broadcast, and not be too conservative. Will it be better that way? It should be. Looking at the VIP area of the live broadcast room, there were only a dozen people, and each of them was very limited, and Lin Xiu was struggling. The popularity of her live broadcast room is actually more than 100,000, but the popularity is false. The VIP area that can really reflect her strength, and her VIP area is really indescribable. Today's task has not been completed yet. Everyone please help the anchor to complete the task, or the anchor will be scolded again, please. Sighing, Don't think about that issue for the time being. Lin Xiu is acting cute in the live broadcast room, hoping to get more gifts from the audience. It's a pity that the audience doesn't seem to buy it. When she was cute, the live broadcast room immediately lost a dozen people, and the number of people in the VIP area changed from a dozen to single digits. Shi Yu has already rewarded everything that should be rewarded today, and there is no money left, so don't count on it. I even gave you the money to buy lipstick for my wife. It's really been drained and I have no money. My God, you need 3 rockets to complete your mission. We are all too poor to complete it. Cough, cough, my wife has been very strict recently, and I really don't have any money. I'll give you a reward next month. You reading www.yukansha.com, there were a lot of barrages floating in the live broadcast room, all of them telling their pain. Looking at the floating barrage, Lin Xiu had a bitter look on her face, and said pitifully, if it goes on like this, I'm really going to get cold. Do you have the patience to let this beautiful and cute anchor like me get cold? Just support me and let me complete the task. In the face of the poor anchor, the audience fell into silence. They had no money to reward, so they could only choose to play dead. What's the benefit of the anchor helping you complete the task? If it's good, it can help you complete it. Xiao Fan actually came to the live broadcast room for a while. When he saw the host's request, he decisively posted a barrage. When she saw this barrage, Lin Xiu bit her lip. It seemed that this person's purpose was not pure, and she didn't know what to say for a while. Just when she was hesitating, the second leader in the live broadcast room suddenly posted a barrage. Shi Yu, if you go on like this, you will definitely be cold. It is difficult for the live broadcast room to rely on ordinary audiences. What you need is the support of the Big Brother, and the Big Brother is not a fool. After all, gifts are real money, you can't give nothing. The words were rather obscure, but Lin Xiu understood it. After all, she had been live streaming for so long, and it was impossible for her to understand what it meant. The meaning of the second list is that it is almost impossible to want to be a white wolf with empty gloves, and it is impossible for my eldest brother to be a fool all the time. If it was before, she definitely wouldn't listen to such words, but now she really listens. She was hesitant at first, but at this time, she finally made a small choice. The eldest brother who just spoke, what benefits do you want? You say it first, and I'll consider it. Lin Xiu bit her lip. If it was too much, she would definitely not agree, but if it wasn't too much, she chose to compromise. How about a rocket called Dad? Your mission is 3 rockets short. How about you call me Dad 3 times? Xiao Fan sent another barrage. The system's task is to call Dad 3 times, so he didn't want much. Brother, you didn't lie to anyone, did you? Lin Xiu breathed a sigh of relief. If she just called Dad, she would still accept it. A daddy and a rocket are really worth it. She believes that other people will call it too. Seeing that the anchor didn't mean to refuse, Xiao Fan directly gave him a super rocket. Anyway, he has 1,000,000 shark fins, so it doesn't hurt to use it. Large shield machine presents anchor, super rocket *1 Kahuo is worth 2,000 shark fins, and it has special effects, so as soon as this gift is given out, the special effects will appear in the live broadcast room immediately. Wow, big guy, you'll be super popular as soon as you come up, this is 2,000 soft girls. Brother, I can also be called Dad, can you make me super popular? I'm cheap, I'll call Dad 100 times when I'm super popular, and the boss asks for a reward. A barrage immediately floated in the live broadcast room, telling Dad to have such a good thing as a rocket, and the audience said they could too. Lin Xiu was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect this eldest brother to be so decisive. Before she called her father, he rewarded him with a super rocket. In addition, 1 super rocket is equal to 4 rockets, that is to say, she needs to call her father 4 times? She had never encountered such a thing as calling someone else's father before. If it was 2 months ago, she would have refused unceremoniously. She's just super hot, who looks down on her, but now she's down, calling her father is the second thing, keeping this big brother is the purpose. Hurry up and call dad, let's make your voice louder. After the reward, Xiao Fan sent a message urging him to focus on the task now. Although the anchor is beautiful, he has to wait until the task is completed before he has time to appreciate it. Thank you, Dad, for the super rocket from Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Dad is so nice. Lin Xiu stuttered a bit at the beginning, but after shouting, it became smoother. Just like a person's bottom line, the number of breakthroughs is only 0 and countless. Wow, it's so nice for the anchor to call Dad. Can the anchor call him twice? 500 soft girls say Dad, the price is really expensive, and only the boss can play. I also want to be called Dad. The barrage kept rising, some envied, and of course some laughed. The voice is very nice, I'll reward you with a super hot. After completing the task, Xiao Fan was in a very good mood, so he raised his hand again. This kind of money doesn't need to be paid by himself, and it really doesn't hurt at all. Large Shield Machine presents Anchor, Super Rocket *1 Lin Xiu, who was a little embarrassed at first, immediately covered her mouth when she saw Kaya Huo again. It had been a long time since she had received Kaya Huo in a row. I remember that the last time I received Kaya Huo was 2 months ago, and the last time I received Kaya Huo in a row was 3 months ago. After 3 months, she finally received Kaya Huo again in a row, which is really nostalgic. The level of this account is not high. She originally thought that sending a rocket would be a lot, but she underestimated the other party. If she can send super fire continuously, she is not a common man at first sight. Thinking of this, she hurriedly thanked again, thank you for the super rocket presented by my brother again. I really feel very much. If it wasn't for the super fire presented by my brother, I would almost forget the special effects of super fire. The two are super hot, it's not a big deal. I just watched your live broadcast, and I felt pretty good, so I gave it away. Xiao Fan started to pretend, he likes to pretend, and he pretends to be fair. Of course, apart from pretending to be coercive, he has other ideas. Now that the system's tasks are completed, his own affairs still need to be resolved. He has been single for 20 years, and now he has the ability to vent his anger. This anchor named Lin Xiu is very good looking, with straight facial features, delicate skin, and beautiful eyes. This kind of beautiful beauty makes Xiao Fan have different ideas. In the past, he had no money, so he could suppress his inner desires as a matter of course, but now it is different. Now that he is a systematic man, of course he cannot suppress his inner desires. Of course, Xiao Fan doesn't know if he can win this anchor. After all, this is the first time, so he should practice his hands and hold millions of shark fins. He has many opportunities. Big Brother's world is really different from ours. By the way, Big Brother, are you from there? Seeing that Xiao Fan didn't want to leave, Lin Xiu took the initiative to find a topic to chat. At present, she doesn't have a big brother in her live broadcast room. She finally met a big brother. She really doesn't want to miss it. There are so many coquettish and cheap people out there. Hang Cheng, where do you live? Stream the anchor. Xiao Fan is happy to chat with the anchor. I'm from the magic capital and it's not too far from you. Lin Xiu smiled and said, brother, I don't think your account level is high. It's the first time you've received so many gifts, right? Forget it, I feel that you are not bad, so I gave you a little brush, but it's not much. Ha ha ha, big brother, you are being humble. The 2 super hots are not a lot at all. Many people's salary is only this little per month. Lin Xiu raised the corner of her mouth slightly and said with a smile, by the way, I'll give you a housekeeper for eldest brother, and you can add WeChat to brush rockets in our live broadcast room. I'll send it to you privately. Okay, you can send it to me, I have something to do first. Chatting in the live broadcast room is inconvenient after all. After getting the contact information, Xiao Fan decisively left the live broadcast room. The two soon added WeChat, but after adding WeChat, he didn't take the initiative to send a message. He knew very well that it would be difficult to win the anchor in one day, and even if he won, he would have no money to reimburse the travel expenses. So let the bullets fly for a while, there is no need to worry too much, now the lottery is the most correct choice. Xiao Fan opened the system lottery draw interface, directly clicked the lottery draw, and at the same time put his hands together and began to worship Guanyin Bodhisattva silently, asking her to bless him. Soon the results of the lottery came out, and his luck was still average. This time, he got shark fins, which were worth 100,000 yuan. This result is disappointing, but still acceptable. After finishing the lottery, he opened Lin Xiu's circle of friends and looked at it. He is very greedy for Lin Xiu, there is no need to hide this, because this is the nature of most men. Maybe it will change when he gets tired of playing, but there is definitely no way to calm down now. On the other hand, Lin Xiu wasn't in the mood to broadcast live, so after finding a reason, she stopped broadcasting. She needs to think about how to keep this big brother without letting herself be taken advantage of. Yu reading www.youcanshu.com. But before she could think about it for a long time, the phone rang. She thought it was news from her eldest brother, so she picked it up quickly. After taking a look, I found that it was a message from the guild operation. Xiu, I see you received 2 super hot today, have you met your big brother today? I should have met the eldest brother. This is speculation at the moment. I have no way of determining whether it is the real eldest brother. Lin Xiu replied casually, she completed the task today, so she was very confident. Whether it's a real big brother or not, since you can get 2 super hits, it's definitely a lot better than the average audience. You have to do your best. According to your conditions, the live broadcast room shouldn't be like this. I will try my best. Lin Xiu sighed and could only reply dryly. Effort is the foundation, and the brain is the most important thing. You have to think about some things yourself. With your conditions, it is not difficult to get 100,000 yuan a month. Don't be too rigid. I'll think about it. Lin Xiu bit her lip, she understood what operation meant. The right to choose is in your hands, whether to take 100,000 yuan a month, or just a few thousand a month, and work so hard that you are reluctant to buy things, you can figure it out for yourself. In addition, I want to tell you one thing, people will get old. If you can't make money when you are young, then when you are old, do you think you will compete with newcomers? I have a few people with worse conditions than you, and all of them have higher income than you. Don't you envy them? They now have at least 20,000 to 30,000 yuan a month, and they can buy whatever they want. Seeing the news, Lin Xiu clenched her fists. Of course she knew this. Among the streamers who were in the same group as her, there were several who were not as good looking as her, but their income was much higher than hers. Of course she was not reconciled. Early the next morning, Xiao Fan just woke up and immediately turned on the system. Last night, he originally wanted to wait until 12 o'clock, but he fell asleep unknowingly and missed the settlement time of the system. After opening the system, Xiao Fan saw the settlement time. Last night, it took more than 5 hours, and the final settlement was about 2,000 yuan. After sleeping, he earned more than 2,000 yuan. This is not too cool. After confirming that the money had arrived, he put down his mobile phone and continued to sleep. He used to need to go to work to make a living, but now it is different. He has completely forgotten about going to work. At 10:30, Xiao Fan was woken up by the ringing of the phone. He picked up the phone and saw that it was the company's call. He picked it up and communicated, then continued to sleep with his eyes closed. Until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he was woken up by his mobile phone again. This time, a friend asked him to have a meal with him. He happened to be a little hungry now, so he agreed. After taking a brief shower, he took a taxi and rushed to the destination quickly. Sitting in the car, Xiao Fan looked outside. At this moment, he realized that the city seemed to be different from before. When he had no money, the city was like 2 points and 1 line for him, and there was no way to go to other places. But when he had money, he found that the city was very prosperous. With a sigh, he came to the destination of the trip, a sauerkraut fish restaurant. When he entered the restaurant, he saw a friend sitting by the window. His name was Lu De, Xiao Fan's high school classmate. At this moment, Lu De was sitting there in a daze, not seeing Xiao Fan approaching at all. Looking at his scattered eyes, Xiao Fan realized that his old classmate seemed to have a problem. "What's the situation? I see you looking distraught, have you lost your love?" There are very few reasons for men to be depressed. Among them, loss of love is often the first reason. "I was dumped, that woman Yu Huan," Lu De said in a low voice, as if he was about to die. "It's not surprising, I reminded you a long time ago, but you still don't believe it." Xiao Fan shook his head. In this era of not talking about responsibility and talking about freedom, anything can be trampled on, and trampled without any sense of guilt. Human beings can only rely on responsibility for inheritance, but today people actually pursue freedom. Freedom and selfishness are one and the same. If freedom is magnified, how can selfishness not be magnified? The real freedom is to be able to control one's desires and understand one's responsibilities. Responsibility is freedom. And the freedom that modern people pursue is to do whatever they want and be at the mercy of their desires. What kind of freedom is this? You can't comfort me a few words, then you know what to say. Lu De was very speechless. You're not a little woman, why do you want comfort? People always have to pay for their actions, right? Xiao Fan smiled. He couldn't go back and picked up the menu and ordered food. He is very hungry now and wants to eat. Don't you have a woman you like? Seeing Xiao Fan being so ruthless, Lu De couldn't help asking. Yes, I like all beautiful women. I am very fraternity. Xiao Fan said without hesitation. I mean, do you have a woman you really like? Lu De touched his head. This guy has always been like this, cynical. What is a sincerity? Is there a sincerity in this era? Don't be naive, I only like skins. You are really hopeless. After 2 hours of eating, Lu De cried heartbroken, while Xiao Fan went home smiling. After eating and drinking enough, Xiao Fan's brainworm came up again, and now he has only one thing on his mind, and that is to vent the backlog in his heart. After a man is on top, he won't think about other things at all unless he releases his pressure, and his sanity is almost zero. If you want such a man to return to normal thinking, unless you come with a few ocean horses to pull it, or you will definitely not be able to pull it. Lin Xia broadcasted the live broadcast early today, and in order to make the live broadcast room more popular, she deliberately dressed a little cooler today. Her fair shoulders were all exposed. After the broadcast, she patiently waited for the arrival of yesterday's eldest brother, hoping that the eldest brother would like her today's dress. But she waited on the left, waited on the right, just couldn't see the big brother coming. It has been more than 2 hours since the broadcast, and the big brother hadn't appeared yet. She couldn't help but send a message to the big brother to remind him. But when the broadcast started, she had already sent a message, but the eldest brother did not reply. In this case, she was embarrassed to interrupt. If someone had something to send a message by herself, it would easily make people angry. She took a look at her gift income. She earned more than 400 per hour in 2 hours. Today, because she dresses nicely, more people gave her gifts. She would be happy in normal times. But she just received 2 Kahuo yesterday, and she also wants Kahuo today, so she is looking forward to the arrival of her eldest brother. She knows very well that without the eldest brother, the gifts she will receive are limited. She couldn't wait for her eldest brother for a long time. Lin Xiu was in a very depressed mood. She sat in front of the camera and looked at her and beautiful self, which was much prettier than most of the anchors, but her live broadcast room was a complete mess. Looking at the poor number of people in the live broadcast room, she sighed at the injustice of God, and then said softly, "New friends who come to the live broadcast room, if you like the anchor, pay attention. If you feel that the live broadcast is good, you can send a gift to feed it." These words are hoping that tourists who enter the live broadcast room will pay attention and ask for a gift by the way. Most of the anchors will, but the effect is often very different. Some anchors can get tourists to give gifts and pay attention, while some are nonsense. After a short stay, tourists leave quickly, not only do not give gifts, but also do not pay attention. Lin Xiu belongs to the latter category. Although she is beautiful, she has nothing else but beauty. She doesn't know how to live, and she can't make the audience happy. There are really very few left. Seeing that there was not a single increase in her attention, Lin Xiu sighed lightly. She found that she was really cold, and under the vicious circle, she would definitely end up in the end. Just when she was extremely depressed, she suddenly saw that there was one more person in the VIP seat. If you look closely, it was the elder brother from yesterday. She was so weak that she immediately regained her energy. "Welcome to my big shield machine brother into the live broadcast room. Welcome to my shield brother, I've been waiting for you so hard, I thought you wouldn't come, and I was ready to cry." Xiao Fan just entered the live broadcast room when he heard this. He smiled. The anchor was eyeing him, but this is good, everyone benefits each other. Thinking of this, he sent a barrage. "It's true or false, we just met, so you think of me like that?" He, that's of course, how could I not want to be such a wise and handsome man like Brother Shield? Lin Xiu, who is flattering or something, is still good at it. Her long live broadcast is not for nothing. I think your situation in the live broadcast room is not good today. If you go on like this, you will be doomed. A big stick and candied dates is the best method. Xiao Fan comes up with a stick first to suppress the anchor's anger. Lin Xiu, who originally thought that Xiao Fan was in a good mood when he arrived, his face instantly collapsed after hearing this. It's really going to be cool. The number of people in the live broadcast room is getting smaller and smaller. If it keeps going like this, I won't be able to pay the rent. It's really pitiful. The rent was definitely still affordable, but Lin Xiu was selling badly. She hoped that her eldest brother could support her more, and asked for a gift, so she could only pretend to be pitiful. That's what this industry is like. Many anchors quit the broadcast for various reasons. If you quit the broadcast, I can only watch other young ladies. Fortunately, there are many young ladies on the platform. Xiao Fan continued to suppress him. He is the eldest brother, so it doesn't matter if he suppresses him a little. If an ordinary audience dares to suppress him like this, he will definitely be kicked. The corners of Lin Xiu's mouth twitched. Originally, she thought her eldest brother would pity her, but she didn't expect that eldest brother would actually want to change someone. It was too cold, and she wanted to cry. If I can't do it, I'll have to look for a job, but if I can, I still want to persevere. Lin Xiu opened her pitiful eyes, hoping for sympathy. Forget it, let's support you. It's too hard to find a job right now. It costs a few thousand yuan a month and it's exhausting. It's more comfortable to live stream. Seeing that the anchor was very frustrated, Xiao Fan promptly sent a candied date, a super rocket worth 2,000 yuan, and he sent it out without hesitation. Large shield machine presents anchor, super rocket *1 Lin Xiu, who was originally in a low mood, was stunned for a few seconds at the sudden appearance of the super rocket. After she realized it, she quickly thanked her. Wow! Thank you for the super rocket presented by Brother Dun, I really appreciate it, you are so arrogant. Lin Xiu's mood had a two-level reversal. The elder brother said that he was about to despair and wanted to find a job. But suddenly, he became very popular, and the elder brother sent her to the cloud again. From yesterday to today, the eldest brother has sent 3k a huo, and this kind of support moved her very much. This is called support, not verbal shouting. After she was overjoyed, she was going to chat with her eldest brother for a while. At this time, she found out that eldest brother had actually left, and he left just after the reward. This is too capricious, right? Speaking of which, there was a super hot yesterday, a super hot today, and no tomorrow. Will there be a day after tomorrow? What about the day after tomorrow? Lin Xiu was looking forward to it in her heart. Originally, she couldn't see her way, but now a light suddenly appeared, which made her seem to see her way a little bit. At 12:01 in the evening, Xiao Fan took out his mobile phone on time to check his income today. From 12 o'clock last night to 12 o'clock this evening, it was exactly 1 day, and the income was 8,640 yuan. With today's income plus yesterday's income, his money exceeded 10,000 yuan, and he could complete the second task of the system. Considering that it was midnight and many stores were closed, he could only suppress the thought of completing the task immediately. After watching the short video for a while, he shifted his attention. After 2 o'clock in the evening, he fell into a deep sleep. At noon the next day, when he woke up, he checked the time and found that it was past 11 o'clock. Instead of staying in bed, he got up immediately, washed briefly, and went straight to the nearest big hotel. Since you have to eat 10,000 yuan a meal, you can't go to a small restaurant. Only a big hotel can consume 10,000 yuan the fastest. After more than half an hour, Xiao Fan walked into the lobby of the hotel. The gentle lighting and luxurious decoration showed that the consumption here is not low. Ordinary people will leave subconsciously after seeing such a decoration. After all, eating here is too extravagant for ordinary people. When the waiter of the hotel saw Xiao Fan, he immediately came up to greet him enthusiastically. The service attitude was very good. After their enthusiastic inquiry, he stated the purpose of the trip, which was to eat. Of course, there is also a grade for eating. Under the introduction of the waiter, Xiao Fan chose a private room with a consumption of no less than 9,999. The waiter who heard the news was very happy and hurriedly took Xiao Fan to the box. This is the first time Xiao Fan has come to eat in such a good box. After entering the box, he looked at it curiously. The decoration of the box is very good, it is the same as the one in the TV series, and the area is not small. In addition to the place to eat, there is actually a sofa to rest. It is a box of 9,999. Sir, shouldn't you be alone? After Xiao Fan sat down, the waiter asked enthusiastically. Well, I still have a few friends. Then are you ordering now, or are you waiting for your friend to order? Let's order it now, you make the back kitchen faster. This is the menu, please take a look at it, sir. Taking the menu, Xiao Fan looked at the dazzling array of dishes on it, and ordered it without hesitation. In fact, for 10,000 yuan, you can order a lot of dishes. He ordered a set meal worth 9,888, with a total of 15 dishes, namely, 100 years of how he ba flavor plate, auspicious brine double platter *2, magpies build their nests with fresh belts, dragons and phoenix dances and Buddhas jump over the wall, happy red crabs, lobsters with cheese and salt and pepper, 3-star spring news, rich and rich stars, seasonal vegetables soaked in gold and silver soup, deep sea abalone baked with Hong Kong-style kidney beans, first-class prawns in the palace, sweet bird's nest sago, the happiness and beauty of the double brilliance, Ruguachan Siang and family fun. The names of these dishes are more bells and whistles, and he doesn't know what they are, but it doesn't matter, the money can be spent, as long as the task is completed, everything is worth it. After ordering the set menu, he ordered another bottle of red wine and spent more than $1,000. After spending almost all the money in his hand, he ended the order. After the waiter left, Xiao Fan crossed Erlang's legs, picked up the phone and started shaking people. His husband called Lu Dai. This guy just fell out of love. He invited him to a good meal, which was just enough to soothe his fragile heart. Hey, what's the matter, Lao Xiao? Lu Da's voice was still a little low, and this guy was afraid that he wouldn't be able to come out in a short time. Come out for dinner, I'll treat you to a good meal today, so I'll comfort you. I went home today, so I can't eat. Well then, you'll come back to invite you another day, and it's just a woman, don't care too much. I know, hang up first. Hanging up the phone, Xiao Fan touched his chin, thinking about who to call. As a salted fish, he has very few friends and is too lazy to make friends, so except for Lu Dai. A few other friends have an average relationship, so I feel a little disadvantaged to ask them to eat. Thinking about it, he suddenly thought of a person, and that was the girl he met last time. Rather than inviting friends who have a normal relationship, it is better to invite beautiful women to eat. After all, it is delicious to eat. As soon as he said it, he took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Yu Shiwen, "Are you coming for dinner? I'll treat you." After sending the message, he sent another positioning to increase the success rate of the invitation. On the other side, Yu Shiwen was just about to go to dinner with her roommate. After receiving the news, she picked it up and looked at it. When she saw the news that Xiao Fan had invited guests to dinner, she subconsciously wanted to refuse. After all, she was not familiar with the other party, and there were really many people who wanted to invite her to dinner, so she couldn't agree with all of them. But when she saw the location, she was stunned for a moment. The location was actually a 5-star hotel, and she had never been to such a place. People who usually pursue her usually invite her to dinner from shopping malls and small restaurants. This is the first time for a 5-star hotel like this. You won't send the wrong message, are you sure you invite me to eat at that kind of place? Yu Shiwen replied with doubts. No, you are free, you can come directly, if you are free, I will call someone else. Xiao Fan can't be a licking dog, so the reply message is simple and clear. I happen to be free, so I was going to have dinner, but since you want to treat a guest, it's not worth it. Yu Shiwen thought about it and agreed. You can come directly, and you can call 2 friends. I ordered a little too much. 2 people would definitely not be able to finish eating more than a dozen dishes. Xiao Fan's trick can not only save food, but also try to see who Yu Shiwen will bring. If she brings a man, the woman will be excluded directly. Then I'll call my sister, you can see, there are 3 sisters in total. Yu Shiwen glanced at the roommate beside her, and then replied. Okay. After agreeing, Xiao Fan picked up his phone and watched short videos to pass the boring time. After Yu Shiwen put down her phone, several roommates on the side asked curiously. Who's talking so happily? A friend, let's go and I'll take you to eat something good. I won't go to the cafeteria to eat. Yu Shiwen smiled and dragged her roommates to the outside. But didn't you have an appointment with your boyfriend to eat in the cafeteria? Did he change his mind? The boss of the dormitory, Bai Yingying, looked puzzled. Don't worry about him, let him eat in the cafeteria by himself. Let's go out to eat. Yu Shiwen shook her head and didn't say much. Although the 3 roommates were puzzled, they were all smart and didn't ask. More than half an hour later, the taxi stopped in front of the hotel, and Yu Shiwen got off with 3 sisters. Wait, Wenwen, let's eat here? Are you kidding me? The roommates were very shocked. They all knew about this place, and it would be worth $1,000 if they were casual. Of course, how could I be joking with you? Yu Shiwen opened her mouth and raised her mouth slightly. This feeling of shocking her roommate was very good. She liked it very much. After standing at the door and chatting for a while, the four entered the hotel and led by the waiter to the box Xiao Fan had reserved. At this moment, Xiao Fan was swiping Duyan with Erlang's legs crossed. When he heard the door open, he looked at it subconsciously. Yu Shuwen dressed up very nicely today, and the three girls she brought were also good. Sure enough, they gathered people in groups, and the beauties were surrounded by beauties. "Hello, my name is Xiao Fan, I'll sit down, don't be polite to me." After looking at the four of them, Xiao Fan smiled and stood up, saying very gentlemanly. After the four of them sat down, Yu Shuwen introduced with a smile, "Xiao Fan, the three of them are my sisters, named Bai Yingying, Shi Yanjing and Guan Minjuan. Among the three, Bai Yingying is estimated to be 1.7 meters tall, and her appearance is not much worse than that of Shu Wen. In terms of ratings, Yu Shuwen's score is 93 and Bai Yingying's is 91. Shi Yanjing and Guan Minjuan are a little bit closer, but they still have about 85 points. In the eyes of ordinary men, a girl of this level can already be regarded as a goddess. There were four beauties to accompany a meal. Xiao Fan felt that the meal was not a loss, and his choice was very wise. After Shu Wen introduced him, he said with a smile, "You can eat whatever you want. There is red wine here, and there are dishes in the back. You don't have to be polite to me. Since you are Wen Wen's friends, you are also my friends. This is the first time I have eaten in this kind of box. The five-star hotel is so well decorated. I really thank you Xiao Fan this time," Yu Shuwen said with a smile. Xiao Fan shook his head. He was just for the mission, of course it was impossible to say. So he said nonchalantly, "It's just a meal, there's nothing to be thankful for. This is no ordinary meal. Ordinary people definitely come here to eat." Bai Yingying looked at the empty box and said, "Is the price of this box not cheap? I heard from my friend last time that many private rooms in five-star hotels have consumption requirements." Guan Minjuan also answered, and at the same time kept observing Xiao Fan. She was very curious that this handsome guy is so young and so rich. "It's okay, it's not very expensive." Xiao Fan smiled and didn't say the price of the box. He seemed very low-key and steady. After feeling that Xiao Fan was good at talking, the five of them chatted quickly. Just as they were chatting and laughing, the back kitchen began to serve food, and two waiters pushed their carts into the box. Happy and happy red crab, lobster with salt and pepper with cheese, first-class prawns in gongbeo, Hong Kong-style kidney bean baked deep-sea abalone, a total of 15 dishes were served. These dishes were well matched, including vegetables, meat, seafood, and soups. Xiao Fan had never eaten food in a five-star hotel before. Xiao Fan heard that the food in a five-star hotel tasted average, but he didn't realize until now that it was because he couldn't eat grapes and said the grapes were sour. The food in a five-star hotel is not only well cooked, but the ingredients are also much better than those in small restaurants. Rich people are not fools. It is impossible to eat if it is delicious. 15 dishes, each of which was delicious, and the five of them enjoyed it. At first, the four girls were a little reserved, but slowly, unknowingly, they also ate them in big gulps. After they had almost eaten, the four girls reacted and their expressions changed. Yu Shuwen cried and said, "It's over, I ate too much this time, I'm going to grow meat when I go back. I've eaten so much, I just forgot to control it." Bai Yingying also had a distressed look on her face. "Forget it, eat everything, go back and lose weight." Shi Yanjing and Guan Minjuan shook their heads, looking very helpless. Listening to the words of the four girls, Xiao Fan felt that women had a lot of things to do. He ignored the four and asked the waiter to come in and check out. After the waiter entered the door, he glanced at the four girls, sighed inwardly, and then said in a moderate tone, "Hello sir, this time you spend 12,000 yuan, how would you like to pay?" "WeChat Pay. Now I only take my mobile phone when I go out, and I don't have cash or cards at all." The waiter nodded, took out the code scanner, and after receiving the money, he quickly left the box. This meal is 12,000 yuan? Is it so expensive? After the waiter left, Guan Minjuan covered her mouth and was very surprised. The other three girls also swallowed their saliva. They thought it was about $4,000 or $5,000, but they didn't expect it to be more than 10,000. Originally so expensive, I said why it's so delicious. Shi Yanjing looked at the leftovers and wanted to pack them and take them home. It was very expensive. Xiao Fan, this meal is too expensive. Yu Shuwen looked at Xiao Fan intently. This man is really rich. The four girls are all college students, so their consumption outlook is not very high. A few hundred yuan for a meal is already very expensive for them. A few thousand yuan is considered a luxury, while a meal of tens of thousands of yuan can shock them. It is really crazy to eat tens of thousands of yuan for a meal. What is wrong with this money? Xiao Fan, what are you doing? You seem to be about the same age as us, don't you? After leaving the hotel, Bai Yingying asked curiously. She wanted to know more about such a young, handsome, and rich man. It's nothing, I'm just doing a little business. Okay, I still have something to do. Let's go first. Take a taxi and go back by yourself. Xiao Fan shook his head, didn't say much, turned around and left quickly. The four girls stood there and watched Xiao Fan leave. After the car was no longer visible, Bai Yingying, Shi Yanjing, and Guan Minjuan looked at Yu Shuwen together. Wen, where you met this handsome guy, what stage have you developed to? Hurry up and tell the truth, and also, does your boyfriend know of his existence? You are not far away, guessing. We didn't know each other for a long time, and nothing happened at all. Yu Shuwen shook her head and retorted subconsciously. Oh, so that's the case. I knew that a good girl like you, Wen, would definitely not mess around. After all, you have a boyfriend. Bai Yingying smiled, hugged Yu Shuwen's arm gently, and said, if that's the case, then push his WeChat to me. What are you doing? Yu Shuwen immediately became vigilant. This woman must have malicious intentions for wearing a high hat to herself. Nothing, I just want to get to know him. After all, I must thank you for inviting us to dinner. Bai Yingying said with a smile. I want to ask Xiao Fan, his WeChat can't be messed with people. Yu Shuwen hesitated for a while, and finally chose to refuse. Wen, we are good sisters, and you have a boyfriend, what do you want? Bai Yingying gave Shi Yanjing and Guan Minjuan a wink. The two immediately understood and said, Wen, you wouldn't want to develop a relationship with Xiao Fan, would you? Don't think about it. When I ask Xiao Fan, if he agrees to give you WeChat, I will give it to you. Yu Shuwen shook her head and walked to the taxi quickly, not talking to the three of them. On the other side, Xiao Fan went straight home. After arriving home, he first took a shower. Immediately after that, he bowed to the god of wealth he just bought, and then used up the chance to complete the task reward. With the rapid rotation of the turntable, the results came out soon. Congratulations on getting a Lamborghini Daniel Gold card. With this card, you can go to the store to pick up a Lamborghini. I'm just kidding, and sure enough, Grandpa God of Wealth is useful. Seeing this result, Xiao Fan did not hesitate to pay his respects to Grandpa God of Wealth again. In this era, not only marriage is under the control of the God of Wealth, but even luck is under the control of the God of Wealth. Now the God of Wealth is really powerful. After worshipping the God of Wealth, Xiao Fan couldn't wait to go out. There is no man who doesn't like cars, and he is no exception. After searching for the location on the internet, he took a taxi and hurried to his destination. After more than half an hour, he came to the Motor City, which specializes in selling cars, both ordinary and luxurious. After getting off the car, he immediately started wandering around. He had thought about buying a car a long time ago. Reading www.yuuganshu. It's a pity that there was no money at that time, but it's different now, everything has changed. He was walking outside a store, looking at the luxuriously decorated halls of luxury cars, looking at a car placed in the hall, and his heart beat a little faster. Passing by, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Ferrari, and finally he came to the outside of the Lamborghini store. Through the big glass, he could see the Lamborghini Bull in the hall from the outside. The streamlined body, the scissor doors, and the shiny paint all attracted Xiao Fan's attention. No young boy could refuse such a car. Standing at the door and staring at the car for a few seconds, Xiao Fan strode towards the main entrance. Today he is going home with a big bull, and he will be a man with a car in the future. There were quite a few salesmen standing in the hall. There were men and women. The men were all in suits, very much like pyramid sellers and house sellers, while the women wore stockings and short skirts, which looked very sexy. After Xiao Fan entered, the salesman found him immediately. A young female salesperson responded the fastest and came to him immediately. "Hello handsome guy, I'm Xue Tao, a salesman. I'm happy to serve you. What's your name?" With a smile on her face, Xue Tao curiously looked at this handsome guy who looked younger than her. She was very curious, so young, could she really afford their car? "My name is Xiao Fan." Xiao Fan nodded and looked up and down the saleswoman. Her upper body was a white shirt, her lower body was a short skirt of about 30 centimeters, black silk stockings and black high heels. This sale doesn't look big, with tight facial features and fair skin, and a pair of straight legs wrapped in black silk. It is indeed a place to sell Lamborghinis. The quality of the sales here is really high. "Mr. Xiao, do you want to know about that Lamborghini Aventador?" Xue Tao smiled and pointed to the Lamborghini Bull who was parked not far away. She had just discovered that this handsome guy was looking at the car outside. "How do you know which car I want to see?" Xiao Fan touched his nose. He didn't say his request. This woman knows? "I said I did it, Mr. Xiao, do you believe it?" Xue Tao blinked her eyes and said mischievously. "You're amazing, you guessed it right." "Ha ha ha, I'm actually joking, I just saw you looking at that car outside." Xue Tao smiled. "When you're bored, it's good to find someone to chat with. You look very happy, do you think I will buy a car?" Seeing the smile on the other side's face, Xiao Fan asked. "It doesn't matter if you buy it or not. Of course it's a pleasure to chat with a handsome guy like you." Xue Tao brought Xiao Fan to the side of Daniel and said with a smile. Xiao Fan shook his head. This woman's emotional intelligence is good, not the type to see people through the nose. Originally, he thought that when he entered this kind of store, because he looked very young, even if someone greeted him, his attitude should be very cold. But now that I'm opening it up, I've read too many novels, how can there be so many people with dark hearts who look down on others? With a little emotion in her heart, Xue Tao had already brought him to the side of Daniel, and began to introduce the situation of the car. "Mr. Xiao, this car is the latest Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster in 2019, 6.5 L 770 HP V12, 7 ISR gearbox, 2 DOOR 2 SCAT hardtop convertible, 100 km per hour in 2.9 seconds." As Xue Tao introduced it, she opened the car door and opened the hood at the same time, so that Xiao Fan could witness the process of closing the hood. Xiao Fan liked this car very much. After the door was opened, he sat in the driver's seat to experience it, but he soon discovered the shortcomings of this car. The seat cushion is very hard, the comfort is not very good, and there is not much space in the car, and there is no place to put a mobile phone. Apart from its good looks and power, this car has many shortcomings, but who makes it handsome? When Xiao Fan was experiencing the car, Xue Tao also sat in the co-pilot. She still introduced the situation and configuration of the car with a smile on her face, and her attitude was really good. "Okay, no need to introduce, how much is this car?" Xiao Fan asked without hesitation. touching the steering wheel. This car is the latest Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Roadster in 2019. The configuration is also very high, so the price will be higher, adding up to about 8.7 million. Xue Tao didn't expect Xiao Fan to buy it, so she said it was very natural. In fact, most people are not allowed to sit in a car of 8 million. However, whoever makes the other party a handsome guy, she happens to be in a good mood, so let him experience it. It's not cheap. Now Xiao Fan doesn't have 5,000 yuan on him. 8 million is indeed a lot of money for him. Fortunately, he has a price card, so he can afford it. Hearing this, Xue Tao smiled and was not surprised. After all, Xiao Han looked like he was only about 20 years old. Even if his family was rich, his parents would not agree. Swipe the card, I bought this car. Xiao Fan took out the gold card given by the system and handed it to Xue Tao without blinking. Ah! Xue Tao was stunned, she didn't react for a while. I said, I bought it, swipe the card. Oh, okay, okay. Xue Tao finally reacted. She hurriedly took the bank card and said with a trembling voice, Mr. Xiao, wait a moment, I'll go over the formalities. In addition, this car is optional, you can choose. Xue Tao was very excited at the moment, she actually sold a luxury car, you must know that this car cost more than 8 million, at this price, she can't sell many cars in a year. She can actually sell one, and she sells it in less than 20 minutes. She felt like she was going crazy, she was really excited, how much commission did it take? When she told the manager the news, the other salesmen who were eating melons slapped their thighs. They were really envious. Soon, the store manager came to Xiao Fan politely and said with a smile, Mr. Xiao, I'm the manager of this store. I heard from Xue Tao that you want to buy this car. Well, hurry up and go through the formalities, I'll have something else to do later. Facing this male manager, Xiao Fan was a little impatient, there was no need to waste time with the man. Okay, Mr. Xiao, you need your signature here, and enter your password. The manager held the POS machine politely, and did not show any emotion because of Xiao Fan's impatience. Xiao Fan signed without hesitation, then entered the password and paid the money. Soon, a long document was spit out from the POS machine, and the eyes of the people who were not looking at it went numb. After paying the money, the manager Xiao Xiao breathed a sigh of relief, and then asked, Mr. Xiao, are you going to drive the car away today? Can you drive away? Xiao Fan didn't know this, so he asked back. Okay, wait a moment, I'll help you complete the formalities, and you can drive away then. The manager nodded and went to go through the formalities immediately. After the manager left, only Xiao Fan and Xue Tao were left in the VIP room. Xiao Fan was sitting on the sofa, while Xue Tao was sitting beside him a little nervously. She has seen a lot of rich people. After all, she works in a luxury car store, but this is the first time she has seen such a young and handsome rich person. Thinking of the casual behavior of the other party when she just swiped her card, she cannot calm down. Looking at the beautiful woman beside him, Xiao Fan suddenly remembered something, so he asked, you should also be able to solve the license plate issue, right? Yes, ordinary licenses, we can help for free, as for good licenses, you need to spend money to buy, the price is high or low. Xue Tao said quickly. Then let me buy a good license. The gold card provided by the system also solves the license problem, so Xiao Fan has no pressure to buy it. Hearing this, Xue Tao hurriedly took out her phone, then moved her towards Xiao Fan and said, Mr. Xiao, I'll show you the license plates our store has. If you like it, just tell me directly. Xiao Fan looked at her cell phone, there were quite a few numbers on her cell phone, these numbers were very regular, and it was true that ordinary people couldn't get them. So he chose carefully, but after looking at it for a long time, he found that it was pitch black in front of him, and he was completely unable to focus on the phone. Mr. Xiao. Xue Tao quickly discovered that Xiao Fan's eyes were not right, because the two of them were sitting together, and Xiao Fan was a little taller, so their eyes could be condescending. Cough, cough, just this one, how much is it? I bought it. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Xiao Fan quickly retracted his gaze. He was a little stunned for the past 2 days, and he would lose his mind when he saw a beautiful woman. This 1 million, Mr. Xiao, do you think it's okay? Xue Tao quickly quoted the price, but didn't mention what happened just now. Swipe your card. Xiao Fan waved his hand, very refreshing. Soon the manager ran over again, took away 1 million, and left quickly, without staying in the VIP seat for even a second longer. No one disturbed them, and the two of them were left in the VIP seat. Xiao Fan closed his eyes and rested, while Xue Tao's eyes kept flickering. Mr. Xiao, let's add a WeChat account so that we can contact you easily. After a while of silence, Xue Tao took the initiative to break the silence. She said softly, if you have any questions in the future, you can contact me. As long as I can solve it, I will do my best to help you solve it. Any problem can be solved, are you kidding me? Xiao Fan opened his eyes and asked with a half smile. As long as I can solve it, I can solve it. Xue Tao nodded and said very seriously. Hearing this, the corner of Xiao Fan's mouth rose. This world is really like this, after you have money, someone will try their best to make you happy. The Xue Tao in front of her is very good in appearance and figure. Although she is not a top-level existence, 85 points is more than enough. In the eyes of ordinary people, she is definitely a goddess, the kind of dream. In the past, this kind of woman would never have had a relationship with Xiao Fan, but now he just bought a car, and he didn't need to say anything, people would take the initiative. There are many beautiful women in this world, but not many rich men, and even fewer rich, young and handsome men, so smart girls know very well what to do. In the face of Xue Tao, who took the initiative to embrace, Xiao Fan had no reason to refuse. He took out his mobile phone and added a contact information to the other party. He doesn't think he is a good person, nor does he think his will is very firm, so when faced with temptation, he takes it for granted. He has read some novels, in which the protagonist can control his own desires after becoming rich, which is really incredible. Heroes and heroes in ancient times could not resist beauty, how could ordinary people resist beauty after they became rich? A delicate beauty came to the front and said that she could meet all your requirements. There were a few men who could block it. Of course, there are gentlemen among the men, but only a small part. Xiao Fan's dream is not big. In the past, he just wanted to live simply, but now he wants to take care of some beautiful girls within the scope of his ability, so that they can avoid the suffering in the world. Is your home nearby? Since Xue Tao has said so, Xiao Fan must be rude, he almost suffocated. Originally, I wanted to take down the anchor and talk about it, but now that someone has taken the initiative, he will definitely not refuse, and eat it first. It's in the nearby community. Is Mr. Xiao going to play at my house? Xue Tao didn't expect Xiao Fan to be so direct, but she didn't refuse. I'm a little tired. I want to find a place to rest, can you? Xiao Fan stared at Xue Tao, this woman would have to pay a price if she wanted to hook up with him. Okay, go now, or wait a while. Xue Tao pursed her lips. Since she couldn't refuse, she readily agreed. Okay, let's go now, and I'll drive the car when I get back. Xiao Fan immediately stood up and said something unpleasant. He was a little impatient. There was no way he was such a scumbag. He used to be incapable, so he was honest. The two soon left the VIP room. Xue Tao lived a few blocks away from here. She rode a small electric donkey and took Xiao Fan to quickly return to where she lived. On the way, Xiao Fan unceremoniously stretched out his arms and hugged the other person's slender waist. Xue Tao's waist was very soft and felt very comfortable. He was very satisfied. A few minutes later, the little electric donkey rode into a community. After parking the car, Xuetao took Xiao Fan back to where he lived. After entering the door, Xiao Fan couldn't wait to hug Xuetao, bit her lips and kissed her, really impatient. Xuetao originally wanted to say 2 words, but now she can only cooperate first, let this man have enough, and then talk about other things. 10 minutes later, Xiao Fan let go of Xuetao's mouth, carried her to the sofa and sat down, gently stroking the stockings with his fingers. Brother Xiao, you are too impatient. Lying in Xiao Fan's arms, Xuetao said helplessly. Xiao Fan calmed down a bit at this time, smiled and said, "Who made you so attractive, what a man." "Then brother, what is our relationship now?" Xuetao put her arms around Xiao Fan's neck and asked very seriously, that's what she cared about. "What do you think? I don't have a girlfriend. Who wouldn't say nice things? At this time, you can make a promise. After entering the sage mode, everything can be counted. Then I'll go take a shower first." Xuetao breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing the satisfactory reply. Although she knew that her words were not safe, she had no other way. Who made her vulnerable? You don't need to take a bath, your clothes are very good. Xiao Fan smiled, and I'll talk about taking a bath later, it's more important now. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Xiao Fan yawned in bed and exercised for an afternoon. He felt very hungry now. Looking at Xuetao who was still sleeping, he stretched out his hand and squeezed her body, and said, "It's getting late, get up quickly." "Hey!" Xuetao raised her head in confusion, and it took 3 seconds before she realized, "What time is it?" "It's 6 o'clock, it's getting late, I'll go first, you can send me a message if you have something to do." Xiao Fan picked up his clothes and put them on. After trying it, his heart calmed down a lot, and he wasn't as overbearing as he was at the beginning. "Wait a minute, are you hungry?" Xuetao whispered, hugging Xiao Fan's neck from behind. "What? Are you going to invite me to dinner?" Xiao Fan smiled, he didn't have the money to treat guests now, and the money in his pocket was only enough to eat at roadside stalls. "I'll cook it for you. You can try my cooking skills. I'm very good at cooking. Can you leave after a while?" Xuetao pleaded softly, she didn't want Xiao Fan to leave like this, because she would soon be forgotten. "Okay, then go and cook." Xiao Fan hesitated for a while, then nodded in agreement. He, then you rest for a while, I'll go shopping, and when the food is ready, I'll come and call you." Xuetao pulled Xiao Fan back onto the bed and lay down, then picked up her clothes, put them on, and walked out quickly. After closing the door, Xuetao breathed a sigh of relief. She tidied up her clothes, came to the door to change her shoes, and was ready to go out to buy food. Just as she was putting on her shoes, there was a sudden knock on the door. Xuetao was stunned when she heard the sound. Then she quickly stood up and opened the door. There was a man standing at the door, a very familiar man. Although she guessed it was him, after seeing it, Xuetao was still a little helpless. Why did he come? "Why did you suddenly come here today? You didn't give me a call before you came." Looking at the boyfriend in front of her, Xuetao's expression did not change, but her voice was softer. "I'm not getting paid today, so I'm here to celebrate with you. You can guess how much I paid last month." Baikunan had a smile on his face and was in a good mood. "How much? 10,000, 20,000. Xuetao naturally blocked the door. At this time, her boyfriend must not be allowed in. If there is an accident, it will be over. 23,000, this month's proposal is 20,000. You are a good man." Baikunan was very proud. A monthly income of 20,000 is not something ordinary people can achieve. Seeing her smug boyfriend, Xuetao shook her head and said, "If I remember correctly, your salary last month was only 3,000 yuan, so unstable, I don't even bother to talk about you. Don't hit me, I'm not trying hard, you can rest assured that my salary this month will definitely exceed 10,000 yuan. Bei Gunan was helpless, and his girlfriend liked to hit him. Okay, I won't talk to you anymore, I have something to go out, you go back first. Xue Tao walked out of the door and naturally reached out to close the door. Just when the door was about to close, Bei Gunan stretched out a hand and pressed it against the door. Wait a minute, wait for me to put things in, it's all what you like to eat. What? At this time, Xue Tao realized that there was a box of yogurt on the ground, as well as fruits and snacks, all of which she liked to eat. I just bought it, put it at home first, and then we go out, how about it? Bei Gunan smiled, he bought these on purpose, and he knew that his girlfriend liked it. Okay. Xue Tao's eyes flickered, then opened the door and led her boyfriend into the living room. After entering the living room, she naturally pulled him into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. Bei Gunan didn't find anything. After Xue Tao opened the refrigerator, he began to place yogurt and fruit, while Xue Tao stood by and waited silently. Everything was calm, and soon Bei Gunan set up things. Xue Tao led him out, but this time Bei Gunan seemed to have found something, and his eyes stayed on the sofa. Why are your stockings littered, and they look torn? How about I buy you 2 pieces of Balenciaga? Bei Gunan picked up the tattered stockings with an evil smile on his face. Buying a Balenciaga family is so expensive. It's a waste of money. Save your own money. I'm not that kind of material woman. Xue Tao's heart hung up, she reached out and took her stockings, crumpled them into a ball and threw them into the trash, saying, put the evil on your face, I won't pass it on to you, if it wasn't for work, I would have I don't wear pantyhose. Okay. Bei Gunan was a little frustrated, his girlfriend was not too conservative and would not show him stockings at all, which made him extremely depressed. In the future, if you dare to think nonsense, I've turned with you to find out, what to wear is my freedom. Xue Tao glared at Bei Gunan, then dragged him out of the house, and closed the door with her backhand. I can't even think about it. Bei Gunan felt a pain in his head, he looked at his girlfriend's fair legs, Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com such good legs, it's really a pity not to wear stockings and high heels. No, if you want to find women who like to cater to your hobbies, you can find someone else. I'm not that kind of woman, so give up. Xue Tao said unceremoniously. Okay. Bei Gunan shrugged. He was used to being preached. Just when he was about to ask his girlfriend where to go, he suddenly saw a black spot on her thigh. You hit your leg, why is there such a big lump? Seeing this, Bei Gunan immediately became nervous. His girlfriend was his sweetheart, and he was very distressed when he was injured. At this time, Xue Tao realized that her leg was indeed green. Fortunately, she was very good at acting, and said very calmly, I accidentally bumped while driving, there is nothing that doesn't hurt. It's really okay? Do you want to go to the hospital? Bei Gunan asked nervously. If this kind of wound was placed on him, he would definitely not care, but it was on his girlfriend. I said it's fine, you can go back, I still have things to do. Xue Tao shook her head, I felt that my boyfriend was very annoying today, so I started chasing people. You go there, can I go with you? Bei Gunan was nervous, he hadn't seen his girlfriend for a week, and was really reluctant to leave. No, I'll go shopping with my sisters, bring what you want with me. Xue Tao looked at Bei Gunan with a serious face. Then how about I come to find you later? Bei Gunan knew that it was impossible to follow, so he could only retreat. Xue Tao hesitated for a while. Considering that she had already refused, it was not a good idea to refuse, so she nodded, after 9 o'clock. Okay, after 9 o'clock. Bei Gunan was overjoyed and left quickly, feeling better. Looking at her departing boyfriend, Xue Tao breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, when she was at home just now, her heart was raised. Fortunately, in the end it was calm and nothing happened. Patting her chest, she took out her phone to check the time, and found that the ink had been on it for a while, so she hurriedly walked to the nearby vegetable market. The small vegetable market near the community is not large, but common ingredients are still sold. Xuetao bought some beef, prawns, crabs, etc. She usually doesn't want to buy these ingredients. But today was different. Buying bad ingredients might make Xiao Fan unhappy, so she reluctantly spent a fortune. After quickly buying the ingredients, she hurried back home and entered the kitchen to start cooking. Xuetao knows very well that for people like Xiao Fan, being beautiful is just a basic condition, and they have no shortage of beautiful women who are upside down. If it's not the type of the alluring country, then in addition to being beautiful, character and skills are also very important. Fortunately, her cooking skills are very good, and she has studied it deliberately, so she can show it well. An hour later, Xuetao had already prepared the meal. She went to the bathroom to look in the mirror, and then walked into the room. In the room, Xiao Fan was still sleeping. Looking at Xiao Fan who was sleeping soundly, Xuetao didn't rush to wake up, but picked up a pair of black silk and put it on. She knew that this man likes black silk. After she put on her stockings, she climbed into bed and whispered in Xiao Fan's ear, "Brother, don't sleep after dinner." In his sleep, Xiao Fan felt that someone was pressing on him and was about to wake up. After hearing the voice in his ear, he slowly opened his eyes. "What time is it?" After waking up, Xiao Fan subconsciously put his hand on Xuetao's thigh and gently stroked it. "It's already 7 o'clock. Hurry up and eat." Xuetao smiled and didn't care about Xiao Fan's little actions. After a woman accepted it in her heart, it was actually very easy to compromise. "Please help me get dressed, I don't want to move." Xiao Fan kissed her, and then made a request, or a test. "You're so lazy." Xuetao muttered, but she still picked up her clothes and trousers and helped Xiao Fan put them on without any hesitation. Xiao Fan is very satisfied. He likes obedient women, and he doesn't like women who like to show their temper. After getting dressed, the two came to the living room. At this moment, the coffee table was already set up. After Xiao Fan sat down, Xuetao asked, "Brother, do you want to drink?" "Don't drink, I'm very hungry, just eat." Xiao Fan shook his head. He consumed a lot of energy, so he should continue to replenish energy. "Okay then, brother, eat shrimp." Xuetao nodded, took the initiative to pick up the shrimp, peeled it for Xiao Fan, and then fed it to her mouth. Of course Xiao Fan is not polite. He has never experienced being served by a beautiful woman, but now he can experience it. After eating a meal for more than half an hour, Xiao Fan almost didn't have to do it himself except opening his mouth. Xuetao's thoughtfulness really made him a little shocked. This woman has something. I still have something to go back first. I'll be looking for you another day. You can send me a message if you have something to do. It's time to slip away, taking back the hand that took advantage of Xuetao, and Xiao Fan got up. "Ready to leave? I'll take you to the store. Although it's not very far, it's still a little distance." Xuetao also got up quickly. She had already made up her mind to entangle this second generation. "Okay." Xiao Fan didn't refuse. He was very bad at rejecting women. Who made him a good person who likes to pity fragrance and jade, and like to help others. It didn't take long for Xuetao to send Xiao Fan to the store, and after a farewell kiss with her, Xiao Fan drove away quickly. Man, after putting on his pants, his mind will come back. Xuetao stood there for a long time. She didn't know if her hard work today would pay off, so she was a little worried. If this man ignored her in the future, she would definitely lose a lot. However, she does not regret her choice. It is difficult to meet a rich person. If you add youth and handsomeness, it is almost impossible. She is lucky to meet. At 8:30 in the evening, Xuetao sat lazily on the sofa to rest. She was also very tired today. This man is very powerful, and her legs were actually a little weak, but she just kept holding on. Looking at the leftovers on the coffee table, she shook her head and was too lazy to clean up, so she picked up her phone and sent a message to her boyfriend, "I'm home, come quickly, you can go back earlier later." "Okay, I'll be there right away." Bigunan replied in a second. He set special concerns, so he would be the first to know about his girlfriend's news every time. Xuetao did not continue to reply to the message, but took out the tablet and opened a soap opera to watch it. Compared with replying to the message, she was more willing to watch the drama. After a while, there was a knock on the door. She walked over and opened the door. Then, without even looking at her boyfriend, she went back to the sofa to continue watching the drama. "Peach, there's a very good movie coming out tonight, it's still early, why don't we go to the movies?" Baekunan was very happy, and he was elated when he spoke. "You help me clean up the coffee table first, wash the dishes, and mop the floor, and then you're talking about other things." Xuetao glanced at him, gave an order, and then continued to watch the drama. As for what Baekunan just said, she didn't hear it at all. Oh, Baekunan could only keep his mouth shut, his emotions just now were interrupted, and he could only clean up the plates and tableware silently. However, when he was cleaning the tableware, he found that there were actually 2 pairs of tableware, which made him very puzzled. There was obviously only one girlfriend in the house. He was puzzled in his heart, but he didn't dare to ask, and he wasn't stupid. From what he could see, his girlfriend's mood didn't seem to be high today. It should be something happened at work. Taking the tableware and chopsticks, Baekunan returned to the kitchen, washed the tableware and chopsticks as quickly as possible, then took the rag to wipe the living room coffee table clean, and finally dragged the floor aside. After doing this, he breathed a sigh of relief and cautiously returned to the living room, first glanced at his girlfriend, then sat down slowly, and asked at the same time, "I was scolded by the boss today? Or was it targeted by a client? I was disgusted by the client. The client vomited several times, all over me, and after he vomited, he left very ruthlessly. It was really maddening." Xuetao pursed her mouth. "Alas, there's nothing you can do when you meet this kind of customer. Whoever made you in the service industry has no choice but to endure it, but this kind of person is really disgusting, and he's simply not a human being." Sure enough, when he was wronged, Baekunan quickly comforted him. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com also helped his girlfriend to complain about the stinky man who vomited all over his girlfriend. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't be indifferent to you, but I'm in a really bad mood today." Xuetao said sincerely, "I asked my best friend to complain about it just now, but I just couldn't feel better." "I'm not angry, what are you apologizing for? It's the man who vomited." Baekunan shook his head quickly, saying that he didn't blame his girlfriend for being cold at all, and at the same time, the question about the 2 bowls was solved just now. He also breathed a sigh of relief. "You really didn't blame me? I saw a reluctance on your face when you cleaned up, do you not love me anymore?" Xuetao looked at her boyfriend aggrievedly, and came straight to beat her. "No, the conscience of heaven and earth, I just saw that you were in a low mood, so I didn't dare to speak. How could I not love you?" Baekunan's mouth twitched, he felt helpless. "Really?" Xuetao looked suspiciously at her boyfriend and said, "Then show me your phone, and of course I'll show you my phone too. Let's look at each other. You can look at my cell phone. I believe you, so I won't look at your cell phone." Baekunan quickly handed over the cell phone, but he was not interested in looking at his girlfriend's cell phone at all. His girlfriend trusts him very much, and there is no problem with checking the phone, but after reading it, there is a series of greetings. Do you not believe her? Do not love her? Wait. So if you can't watch him, don't watch it. Forget it, I'm teasing you, but I'm very tired today and want to rest early, why don't you go back first and I'll find you another day. Xue Tao looked at her boyfriend tenderly with big eyes. Bai Junan actually wanted to stay with his girlfriend for a while, but his girlfriend really didn't seem to be in high spirits, and there was a trace of fatigue on her face, so she could only helplessly nodded and said she would leave now.